From the Hudson at Dyckman Marina in Inwood, New York City, welcome to Inwood Art Works On Air. It's where we meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes who make their home in what we affectionately call upstate Manhattan. I'm your host, Aaron Sims, and this is a special concert edition of On Air Live and Local featuring the Double Entendre Music Ensemble. They're performing live as our pre-show entertainment as part of our Film Works Alfresco program on July 22nd, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the Double Entendre Music Ensemble on Inwood Art Works On Air.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Am I as loud as Aaron? I have the hair that Aaron has, but you'll never know because we both have the hats. And I recommend these hats. They're excellent. Go get them. So we're so happy to be here in this wonderful place at the Hudson in a relatively cool summer evening, right? And yeah, definitely. Thank you, Hudson, for arranging this weather. I'm Catherine Engelhardt, and we are retro reeds of Double Entendre Music Ensemble. So we're going to start with a piece that I hope you can name. Let's see if you can guess the name. It's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, written by Michael Kamen and arranged by Michael Elderkin. And that bassoon band is composed of Patricia Wang, Liz Rosa, Atsuko Sato, Yuki Higashi, with Susanne Chen on contrabassoon, the big one right here in the middle. Yay! So we're all here to watch a classic movie. And let's talk about Robin Hood, specifically Prince of Thieves. If you've ever come to one of our performances, you know that we love to include bits of trivia into our evenings. So here's a question for you. What year did Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves come out? Was it 1991, 93, 95, or 97? That was 1991, early 90s. So we have a few more questions about Prince of Thieves. Who played Robin Hood in Prince of Thieves? Was it Alan Rickman, Harrison Ford, Kevin Costner, Liam Neeson, or Christian Slater? And I think somebody knows the answer. Yes, it was Kevin Costner of Western fame. Okay, who played Marion in Prince of Thieves? Julia Roberts, Susan Sarandon, Uma Thurman, Winona Ryder, or Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio? It's the last one, yes, the one whose name is the most difficult to pronounce. I had to practice it many times. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. I got it pretty well, right? So, one more question. Who directed Prince of Thieves? Was it Kevin Reynolds, James Cameron, Quentin Tarantino, or the Coen brothers? Kevin Reynolds. He also directed Waterworld and The Count of Monte Cristo, among many other great movies. Okay, so now we're going to play more music. I know we just spent lots of time talking about Prince of Thieves. We're actually here to watch The Adventures of Robin Hood from 1938. So now, did you think I was here for the wrong movie? We're now going to play music from tonight's feature film, composed by Erich Wolfgang Korngold and arranged by our very own Gilbert Dejean. So, The Adventures of Robin Hood. It's such a great ensemble, right? I don't know if you've ever heard an oboe band and a bassoon band this big. I'll just introduce the musicians. We have Michelle Farah, Ellen Gruber, BJ Karpen, and Setsuko Otake on oboes over on that side. And then we have Bill Meredith and Nancy Ranger, English horns over here. And we have Patricia Wang, Liz Rosa, Yuki Higashi bassoons, and Susanne Chen contrabassoon. Erich Korngold was born in 1897, just a year before New York City actually became a city with all the 5 boroughs, which was in 1898. He was a famous child prodigy, and he came from Austria to Hollywood in 1934, like many creatives did during that time because of the rise of the Nazi Party. Korngold was the first composer of international fame to write film scores. His first movies were A Midsummer Night's Dream and Captain Blood, which actually Captain Blood started as a doctor, so you'd never know that from the name of the movie, but there we go. They were both written in 1935, and he didn't actually want to write the music to Robin Hood in 38. In fact, after he saw a cut of the film, he refused to write it resolutely. But things got so bad in Europe by 1938 that he stayed, he wrote the music, and he won an Oscar for it. So, more trivia. Here's a trivia question. What movie spoofs both The Adventures of Robin Hood and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? It came out in 1993. That is right. How could we not know that? Robin Hood Men in Tights. We don't have any tights up here, but I wanted to wear them. So that was by Mel Brooks. And who played Robin Hood in Men in Tights? Was it Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Cary Elwes, Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, or Tom Cruise? And I heard somebody vote for Cary Elwes. Yes, that is correct, of Princess Bride fame. I actually had to ask somebody how to pronounce that because I didn't want to say Elvis, Cary Elwes. Okay, and who played Lady Marian in Men in Tights? Was it Winona Ryder, Amy Yazbek, Alicia Silverstone, Drew Barrymore, or Meg Ryan? Amy Yazbek of Wings fame. Okay, now this next piece we're going to play is from a movie called The Private Lives of Elizabeth and Essex from 1939. It's a historical romantic drama that was originally a play called Elizabeth the Queen. And in addition to Errol Flynn, it starred Bette Davis and, of course, Olivia de Havilland. Question, does anyone know why the name of this movie is so long and unusual and, quite frankly, difficult to say? I'll tell you, it's all because of actor egos. That's why. Errol Flynn wanted his role in the title, so they were going to name it The Knight and the Lady, but Bette Davis wanted her name in the title as it was initially, and it had to be first, hence this very long movie name. So what you're going to hear is music that immediately reminds you of John Williams in Star Wars, and also of the soundtrack in many Westerns. And you might ask, how was John Williams influenced by Erich Korngold? Well, he's been around for many decades, and it turns out that he was a music copyist and session musician in the 50s and 60s. So he learned all of this music. Erich Korngold, along with Max Steiner and Alfred Newman, are considered the founders of film music, basically. Okay, so now we're going to hear The Private Lives of Elizabeth and Essex by Erich Korngold, and also arranged by Gilbert Dejean. How many film score composers can you name that appear on U.S. stamps? I'll throw some out there. Actually, I have 6 right in front of me right here. They're in alphabetical order: Bernard Herrmann, Erich Wolfgang Korngold, Alfred Newman, Max Steiner, Dmitri Tiomkin, and Franz Waxman. They are on stamps that came out in 1999, and guess what? You can still get them from Amazon. Do you know how much they cost? Oh, well, they're 33 cents, so if you want to get a sheet of them, not so much. Here's our last trivia question. What was the name of the Cantina band in Star Wars? Was it Bella and the Flecktones, Chumbawamba, the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza, Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes, Double Helix, or the Yale Accordion Band? And the answer is Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes. Yes, yes, yes. Actually, believe it or not, there was a group called the Yale Accordion Orchestra, because I have that vinyl LP. It was a person named Oakley W. Yale formed it. He was an accordion player. So now we're going to hear Cantina Band from Star Wars by John Williams and arranged by Gilbert Dejean. Thank you for coming this evening. We'd like to thank Aaron and the Hudson, Film Works Alfresco. I'd like to also thank Gilbert Dejean and Michael Elderkin for creating this evening's arrangements. If we had played pieces originally written for these instruments, you would have heard an hour of music written for Louis XIV. Thank you, New York State Council on the Arts and New York City Department of Cultural Affairs. We have Michelle Farah, Ellen Gruber, B.J. Karpen, and Setsuko Otake oboes, Bill Meredith, Nancy Ranger, English horns, Patricia Wang, Liz Rosa, Ako Sato, Yuki Higashi bassoons, and Susanne Chen, contrabassoon. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Let's hear it for the Double Entendre Music Ensemble, everyone. It's always a treat. Let's give it for Gilbert Dejean over here, the arrangements, the orchestrations. Wow, they're so good. They're always a crowd favorite. We've had them back numerous times. Catherine Engelhardt is the head and the heart and soul of Double Entendre Music Ensemble. And I want to thank her for bringing back the group once again to the Hudson for a tremendous performance. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and to those who actually came out and saw it as well. This is it. This concludes our special live and local concert edition of Inwood Art Works On Air. If you like what you heard, and how could you not, please rate this podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and wherever you rate your podcasts. Please do share with your friends and neighbors too. Many thanks to the Hudson for hosting us, and to HideSites.com for uptown promotional support. Hey, you can support On Air and all of our programming by making a tax-free donation to inwoodartworks.nyc/donate, or via Venmo at Inwood Artworks. We really appreciate it. Be sure to follow us on social media to keep up with all we do, which includes the Inwood Film Festival, Film Works Alfresco, pop-up art galleries, live performances, and so much more. Inwood Art Works On Air is proud to be supported in part by public funds from the New York Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. And Inwood Art Works programming is made possible by the New York State Council on the Arts with the support of the Office of the Governor and the New York State Legislature. From the top of Manhattan and the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Aaron Sims for Inwood Art Works On Air.